Hmm.
Alright, so at least I know you're in here. I'll let the others know that you made it in.
Can you clear up your audio a bit? It's a little bit off. It's a
Well,
bit hard to hear you. Or to make out what you're saying.
alright. I mean,
That's better.
is
Yeah,
that
that's
better?
better. Yeah.
Yes. Hi guys.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
I can hear
Yeah.
you guys.
No.
And like I
Yes.
said, because tech is not my area of expertise, I'm completely muted until I have a question.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, and we're
Now,
still over 6 at conspiracy. Did you see Robot? He says he has a good one. Not to change the subject. Gotcha.
I discussed it with Tan too. I don't know if he remembers it or not, but I think it'd be best for him to kind of be the chairman for this one because of the topic. You know what I mean?
All right, well, mention him. He was just in the chat, so he's
He said
active.
he'd be a little bit late, but
Oh, okie dokie.
if nothing else, man, we could start it out because like what we really need is we're gonna do general management. So the best one to start it out would be Mark talking about it. You know what I mean? Kind of getting an idea of what it's all about.
That sounds good.
Big subject. Not sure how I would start off.
Well, first of all, let me just actually go ahead and Mark, if you want to, just introduce yourself and kind of give yourself a little bit of a background. That way, everybody knows who you are.
Sure. Mine. I'm Mark. Been with mine since 2016. I've been in the IT industry since, well, almost 30 years now. Quite a wide range of different um, areas of the IT industry, mainly technical support, bit of web development, project management, and network administration, system administration. But yeah, that's
Okay. Now, with general administration, what would be the best place for you to start out in? I mean, there he is.
right.
Okay, Tan. Now, do you want to?
Hi.
Hello, Tan. Do you want to chair the discussion and everything? Because you'd be one that know more about the better questions to ask.
We could all jump in and
Just
ask
chair.
questions. Yes, but I'm
Chairman is kind of an important position when you do stuff like this.
Chairman. It sounds important, but I might have to bail out abruptly. I'm expecting a call. I'm still not done with work. I'm bailing out for a few minutes to talk with you guys, but let's see how it goes.
Alright. Well,
So where are we at? Did we start
we're
the
going to be
recording?
discussing general management.
He was just doing his introduction. Should he do his introduction before he starts, or are you going to have him introduce himself and give his title and stuff?
Did you start the recording already, Roger?
Yeah.
Oh, we have. Okay.
So,
all right.
If you want to first give you a description of yourself and a little bit.
Sure.
Of
Okay.
Stuff.
All right. Let me do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Roger Hansen's live streaming once again. We're doing our first session on what is this? Tech Talk, isn't it? Yeah. So it's our first session on Tech Talk, and we have on the line Mark Edwardy and Carmela, which is not visual today. Shame. And then we have Roger being on the control room, and my name is Tan Tran. I've been in Roger's sessions for a few times with the Minds Roundtable. But here's our first session. So here we go. Let's go. Right. What's on the agenda?
Well, first we have to break it down and discuss what would be the first thing that needs to be discussed when it comes to general management, when it comes to computers and IT and all that stuff. And I think Mark would be the best one to answer that. What would be the first thing you'd want to discuss?
What would be the first thing I want to discuss?
What's most important, basically, that people
Most
should know?
What kind of management are we talking about here? IT management?
Yeah, just
System.
general management and IT technology.
General management and IT. Okay. So you mean like managing network infrastructures, and bandwidth and stuff like that?
Yeah.
First of all, you've got to make sure that you recognize what you are managing. It's no point in going into, let's say, an office without knowing what sort of equipment they use and what sort of setup they intending to have. Just the general layout of the operation.
Okay, so say we have a platform that's kind of like, like Minds or Facebook or, YouTube. What would be the first thing that a person in general management should be worried about, or what should be most important in their minds when it comes to doing that?
Let me ask Mark this question. Are you familiar with how Minds manages its infrastructure?
I've got a pretty good idea. Again, you've got, as far as I can see, you've got two major system administrators there, as far as the technical side is concerned. Possibly three, actually. And they deal with all the infrastructure, and they make sure that everything's running as smoothly as possible. And then obviously you've got the standard administrators that make sure that accounts are being served and day-to-day activities are being managed. So things like making sure that NSFW, not suitable for work, information or references of posts are being managed correctly, and general administration. There's quite a big difference between general administration and system administration. I mean, general administration could include, general paperwork related sort of jobs. Whereas system administration is all about making sure that the services are being delivered to the user.
So on the coding though, when it comes to actual coding and putting all the code into the program, who would be responsible for that out of the two of them?
Well, no, the coding is on the development side.
Okay, so that's development.
Yeah, right. Coding is the administration side maintains the network and support so that the developers have the proper infrastructure to work with. I think the admin guys will also, maybe this is now done, by what do they call it? DevOps. What is that short for? Development operations, developer operations.
It depends on the individual company, but as far as mine is concerned, you've got people like Mark Harden, which is the Chief Technology Officer, that make sure that the infrastructure is in place.
Yeah.
And then you've got people like Nick, who are the actual day-to-day administrators that make sure that posts are being published
Right.
correctly, and payments for Minds Plus are being provided correctly.
Mm-hmm. So that's Nick's job, huh? He's in charge of that. Okay.
Yeah.
Like who's in charge of like if mine's down and somebody needs to reboot a server and something like that?
Generally, that would be Mark Harden, but also Ben as well, and I think Zach as well may have some influence in that.
Okay.
Mark Harden being the chief technology officer would be under his sort of remit.
Okay.
So like the general administration sounds like to me like a really bad counseling job at Job Corps. You know what I mean? Like they basically have to take care of the folders and frickin' filing cabinets and all that stuff to make sure everything's in place.
A general, like I said, general administration, really.
I had an ex-girlfriend that was into that, and that was horrible. When she was a counselor, she didn't have any time to actually have face-to-face with any of the students because she was so busy doing their filing.
What? Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've worked, as you know, I've worked in education in the past, and I've seen actual educators, actual lecturers being bogged down with more paperwork than actual lesson time.
Yeah. Something else. When you were describing that, that's the first thing that popped into my head. I was like, that sounds like a really, really bad filing system. I mean, like.
So Mark, have you had sysadmin work in the past?
I have. I've managed NovoNet where.
Right. Maybe talk about that. Let's talk about that. Talk about your NovoNet. You know, I have a Novell 412 textbook in my desk somewhere. That's way from.
Novell has been not a thing. It's not been a company since 2000 or early 2000s. During the 90s, they were the sort of main competitor to Windows NT.
Well, they actually were better than Windows NT, right?
When it came to
more people were using it than Windows NT networks.
Yeah, there was two phases of Novell. They had a binary service, which was a way of managing networks. And in the mid 90s, possibly 96, 97, they moved over to directory services. So much like Active Directories or LDAP.
Yes.
And then, throughout the late 90s, I was managing Novel Network services and MS-Mail services as well. Then, in the about 2000, moved to a different company and then started to set up Linux-based servers.
Okay.
Mainly LAMP web servers.
Which distribution?
It was either Red Hat, Fedora, or Fedora might not even been around at the time.
Red Hat, Fedora.
Or SUSE.
Yeah, back then I think those were the two big ones. Yeah. Okay.
So when you were doing the previous job and everything, like what was your basic responsibilities when you were there?
My basic responsibilities was mainly to provide new users, new employees with email access, and remove security from employees that left. It was a insurance company. Obviously, obviously they had their own call center, and there was quite a large turnaround of employees. So it was always managing, creating new email accounts or new accounts, and then removing them. Also, things like general technical support. So installing new workstations for users, making sure the software is up to date. Also, we had, as it was back in the early, or I was going to say early 2000s, but back in the late 90s, there was very limited internet access, so all backups were done on site, and so all done via tape drives. So it was every morning, check logs to make sure that the backups are done, and then send a copy of the backups to a courier to take off site. Also, I did, for that company, I also did a year 2000 testing, because obviously in 96, 97, 98, 98, there was the issue, the scare of the Y2K year 2000.
Yeah, I was rooting for that. I wanted it to happen.
I made quite a lot of money after that, to be fair.
Wow. Yeah, imagine that, right? Some developer in the 70s just decided to use 2 digits for the year. And then it generated a lot of jobs for us in the year 2000.
Yeah,
So
I was still a young punk, and I was all high on drugs and stuff. And like when the year 2000 come, I like envisioned this freaking road warrior freaking lifestyle. So things weren't really all that straight back then when it comes to my way of thinking. But
Mark, do you know the history of that Y2K bug? Like, who was the clown that was responsible for that bug?
COBOL days.
Yes.
I know that a lot of banks were concerned, because obviously even now a lot of the infrastructure is based on things like COBOL and very old hardware.
Didn't they say that it also had to do with how computers did time and dates on their systems?
Yeah.
And the year 2000 wasn't going to be able to compute properly or something.
In theory.
Yeah, because they're double zeros or something.
Okay, I'm Googling the author of the Y2K bug. And
I was in Disney World. We thought it was the end of the world.
It says the Y2K bug's being attributed to Massachusetts programmer named David Eddy.
Okay.
So that guy's famous.
Do they have like a background of him? Say anything?
Yeah, this is the Wikipedia page on Y2K.
Did he get
Roger's favorite.
Did he get flogged for his freaking
I don't know, man. You can bring it up. Are you able to screen share? Wait, yes.
Right now.
Yeah.
I got it.
Alright.
No, this is the background, right? Y2K is a pseudonym and was the common abbreviation for the year 2000 software problem.
Bring it up in your screen share.
You're talking about on the actual, live stream. I can do that.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't.
So that you want me to do it? Let me do it.
I can do it.
Because it's useful to show what we're reading on the viewer.
So, here it is, right here.
Wow, that's huge. Yeah, that's right. It's that dude. Is that
better?
But I can read clearly. Yeah.
There you go. So that's basically it. I can read it if you want me to.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
It says it's in the email. That's an email from 1995. This thing is way before that.
yeah, the acronym 2000K has been attributed.
Oh,
to
I see. It's just he's just attributed to calling it the Y2K bug.
in an email sent on June the 12th, 1995.
I wanted to know who's the hacker that put this bug in the first place. I think it was just like a general project management thing, right? You agree, Mark? Like whether it was
Yeah.
And he later said people were calling it CDC, Central Date Change, and then FADL, Faulty Date Logic.
CDC.
There were other contenders.
No, I
Y2K
see.
just came off of my fingertips. That's funny. It just came off my fingertips. That sounds like something Mark would pull right there. It just came off my fingertips.
Interestingly enough, there could be a similar issue in 2038.
Really?
Yeah, there's a Wikipedia page on something I did talk about some time ago in Canaries about a similar problem happening around January 19th, 2038.
Oh, that's because the 32-bit computers are gonna run out of storage space.
No, it's exactly the same. In theory, clocks will reset them back to zero.
Oh yeah, number of
like
ticks
UTC
since
or-
1970. Yeah.
Wait a minute, that's right, because
That's right.
that's crazy.
That's great. That's great. More jobs.
There's more opportunity for the road warrior.
Yeah.
Go road warrior.
All right. Where are we? Oh, so Mark was talking about.
Now hold up, before you go any further, I do have to say one thing. If that does happen, then we can actually start calling you Than.
Why?
The mighty warrior
The
Than.
mighty.
He wants your oil. He wants your trucks.
What the hell? Where are we going? Where are we going? We're talking about computer stuff, and then you're switching to oil.
Well, the road warrior is gonna happen if all civilization falls. They're gonna be all like wanting to survive and take freaking resources for themselves, and you're gonna be like dressed as this mighty freaking warrior with your followers behind you.
Okay, back to Mark. Well, telling his story about system admin. What does it take to be a system administrator? What kind of training do you need?
I've never had any formal training myself as far as system administration.
There
I've
you
been
go. That's
running-
important. That means you don't need a college degree to do it.
No, there's the argument of what is it, Microsoft certificate in computer administration.
Yeah, MCSE, system engineer.
But I think that's way out of date now.
Yep.
And then you've got things like Compute Plus, which
Right.
again is they're actually a lot of information that they produce is considered to be out of date, and they've been somewhat.
Yeah, I think the
Cool.
Microsoft certification now is the most popular one.
Compute Plus, or is it the A Plus? Thinking of.
You were.
I'm not sure, but I think Compute is. I keep on seeing adverts for jobs in relation to computing. But again, the information held, they were still talking about things like chain link and firewire cables. Long after firewire became ended, sort of thing.
Yeah, talk about that. When did the FireWire? So that was the competing technology to the USB.
Yeah, it was a sort of Apple alternative to USB, and before the Lightning concept.
FireWire was created by Apple.
I think so.
Okay. Could be. Just like the Lightning, it's like the Lightning cable is now being defeated by the USB-C cable, right?
Yeah, all because of the EU.
The EU.
Yeah, and I've also read yesterday that California is now implementing a similar sort of regulation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what is the regulation?
Yeah. It needs to be interoperable with other device manufacturers.
Yeah, got to have a sort of single cable for all modern battery devices or run devices.
Right.
Oh, I'm not sure all batteries. Still thinking of the rounded DC plugs, but yeah, for any sort of computing device.
Yep.
Excuse me, I have a question. Just because you guys are talking about your administrator.
Karma, you come closer to the mic. You're very far away.
Yeah, I did this. Can you hear me better now?
A little, yeah. Are you in your car or something, Karma?
No, I wish, but I'm not. No. But do you hear it better now?
Yeah.
It's still loud? It's still low?
Yeah, it's a little better. I don't know about the other guys.
I can hear it.
Okay. You can
Yeah,
hear me?
okay.
Okay, then. Okay, then. Just let me know if not. So I have a question. So when it comes to planning stuff on like mines and just different type of features and stuff like that, are you guys, or I think Mark, are you responsible for like certain things that like people would like to have implemented in regards to the platform, certain features they would like to see or be able to utilize in a different aspect? And then also as well, Stan, how does that tie into what you do? Because do you guys like kind of work together in similar area expertise? Are your positions parallel, or are they completely different? Because I know you said general management or general administration for you, Mark, and then I might have missed what exactly you say as far as what you do.
Okay. I'm not employed by Minds, and like yourselves, I'm just a community member. But we're we're experiencing in the IT industry.
None of us are right now. None of us in this call are employees
Really?
of Minds. Just so you know, right?
Yeah.
I always thought Mark was like some type of. I know you. Okay, so you're a moderator, so that's what gives you the opportunity to be able to situate type of content. I thought you were an administrator.
See what happens.
That's why I asked you for the robot
what
forum. I
happens
thought it
is,
was you and a man.
Karma, what happens is basically when we have issues with mines, we talk to Mark, and Mark puts a foot up their butt, and they get to work.
Oh, he's the boss man that they're going to listen to.
He just,
Right,
I got it. We got
he
to
just knows
we
what
got
to
to
say
the
when he
boss.
writes the tickets out, and they get to
Right.
work. Like
Okay,
he
when they
actually
see Mark's
knows
name
what
on it,
to
it's going to
say them.
actually get it done, right? When Mark says it, it's going to get done. Okay, so now that's a better clear understanding. So general administration in general. And then I know you guys talk a lot about the different type of technologies you use, which goes way over my head. So that's why I was just listening, but I just was asking that question.
Yeah, but outside of Minds, let me answer your question in a general terms. Between what's the relationship between the development team and the system administration team, right? So, like I was saying before, Mark, you can chime in if you do. But so the sysadmin team maintains the network infrastructure in the company, makes sure everything runs smoothly for everybody, for all the employees that use the computers. Make sure they have internet access. Make sure there's proper antivirus protection is on the PCs. It doesn't make so that the network doesn't get infected by employees bringing in stuff from their home, that kind of thing. Right. So IT guys make sure that the company's computers and the networks are protected and available for the workers to do their work. So and also IT is maintaining the network infrastructure that the development teams need, like the virtual machine that they need to spin up and down whenever they need to test their work. And yeah, so some of those stuff, well, the IT teams has exclusive authority to, like even the developers like us, we can't make any network change without having to go through IT, the system administrating team.
Could you elaborate a little bit more on the term infrastructure too? Because like that might help her out as well. Kind of explain to her what the infrastructure is.
Okay, Mark, you go. You explain.
Okay. We used to, or in certain industries, we call it management information systems, which is a group of, rather than IT, the IT department, which is generally speaking a separate department. Not always though. But yeah, the management information system department is generally what it says on the tin. So it makes sure that the structure of the hardware, the
so infrastructure, right? It's internal
structure, operating
internal networking structure of the company. So like from the wiring from all the way from the server room and everywhere to all the desks to like the number of computers that you need for the employees to do their work, and number of servers to serve. Those kind of stuff make up the network infrastructure of the company.
And okay, so is that why you're able to see different type of systematic issues that we've often experienced within mines? Because we've seen, that's why I thought you were administrator, because you often be able to tell us what needs to be done in order for the issue to be corrected. Do some or most of the systems kind of operate similarly when regards to like that elite type of community? Or is it just something because you have extreme knowledge? I remember you telling me you sitting in front of like screens all day long, and like I was just wondering, how does that really
You're fading, Karma. You're getting smaller. But I get your question. I think yes. I think I'll answer for what I observe, and Mark can jump in after. But I think there's a lot of commonalities in the kind of issues that different IT or software experience in terms of what problems. But the other thing I think is Mark has worked with mines for a long time. He's seen this problem before. So when he sees that kind of problem, I would say, he'll refer you to this chat log from 2 years ago. This is the problem, and here's how we fixed it.
Yeah.
If we can find it or remember it. Sometimes it's very difficult to keep track of what's happening.
That's amazing.
Hence why.
Yep.
That's why I insist on GitLab or being able to review GitLab tickets. And I don't know if you've noticed, but occasionally when staff have mentioned something in the Canaries room, as an example, and they have not added a reference to a GitLab ticket, I will ask them to provide a reference.
Mm-hmm.
And Canary is an operating system, right? I feel like, because I remember you guys were having a debate about Linux and Apple, you and Mr. Robot, right?
No, Canary is Mark's referring to the Canary support room in Mind's chat, but Canary is also like a beta mode in Mind that you turn it on, you get pre-release features. You get to play with some pre-release features that they have.
It's like my Apple beta program, because like.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
The Canary's chat room started out as a sort of just looking at experimental sort of Canary sort of things, but I recognised quite quickly that there was a lot of crossover between experimental features and new implemented features, so it just made a lot more sense just to use that as a general support room.
Now, when you guys are using the term Canary, I've come across a program that I use. It's an emulator, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with them or not, but like Xenia is an emulator program for Xbox, and you can't get in and actually change the settings by themselves. But if you get Xenia, the Canary version, what they call Canary, you can go in with C++ and you can change the settings according to the menu for that. And the only way to get that is to go through the Canary. So is that kind of the same kind of situation right there?
Sort of. Canary, as far as Minds is concerned, is just about experimental and possible upcoming functionality. So I can't think of a good example here. Let's say Minds wanted to release something in relation to Supermind as an example, or Boost, but they want to just try it out first before releasing it to the complete the wide user base. They'll add it to the Canary membership, and then try and get some feedback from that. And if it's working fine, in theory, they will. Well, yeah, we've seen quite a few issues in the past, but in theory, if it works fine and there's a good user acceptance, they will release it throughout the platform.
It's similar to Microsoft has the beta program, right? Where if you sign up to their beta, you get if you run Windows on your computer and then you're signed into the beta program, you get first crack at the latest features that they're building, and that's cool. Sorry, Karma?
I'm an Apple girl. I said
you're an Apple girl.
Products, like,
I don't know if Apple has an equivalent.
They do have a beta program. I had Software 17, the update for like, I don't know, the past 3 months or so. But it wasn't the full 17, it was like 16.1, 16.3, and then we worked our way up to 17. Yeah, I've been in the beta program for
okay.
I don't want to say a year, but I didn't know that we did. Well, you guys did that here too.
Karma, what's happening to your audio? You're a lot better than.
I think I'm being hacked. That's all. And my background. I mean, that's just the truth. I feel
you
like
sound a lot better in the previous sessions.
Now, are you sitting
yeah,
down
my
in your
headphones
front
are.
room? Are you sitting down
me?
in your front room?
No, I'm moving. I got a lot of stuff going on, but I wanted to listen. But I have my headphones in because it's easier. Because if I put you guys on speaker, yeah.
But I was saying that. Okay, so being in this Canary thing is nice, right? But sometimes you find out that the beta release feature breaks other stuff, right? So you go into Canary just to try out this new feature that they announced about in the Canary room, and then you found out you can't do some of this stuff, so you have to leave Canary. I find myself doing that a lot. I come into Canary.
Generally,
Does it mess up the whole software? Like everything mine?
It
like
doesn't.
the chat, the...
It doesn't come to a crumbling halt. You can do some stuff. It's like it stops you from doing the important stuff that you are trying to do. It's basically like a blocker for you if you are trying to do this particular thing. So you have to leave Canary, but that's all you will do. You just go into settings and leave Canary, and then you're back to normal. But
And then
I'm
you
on
can
the
re-download
Microsoft
it.
beta program as well, and you can't do that in the Microsoft beta program. It's like
Once you're
I
in
was
your
in
track.
there for the early days of the Windows 11, right? And you can understand, you can appreciate how buggy Windows 11 is now. Imagine how bad it was in the pre-release. So, but I was stuck in there. Like if you get out of beta, they'll reinstall your whole OS and you will lose.
Oh my
your
gosh,
data.
everything, your entire operating system having a
Yeah.
crazy.
And if you do a data backup before you do that, I didn't want to go through all the hassle, so I stuck it out.
I can imagine you having a whole lot of stuff too, especially with the nature of your job. Like I can imagine having to back up all of that. You'll probably need like 10 terabytes.
Yeah, but these days, that's something else maybe we should talk about. These days, I keep a lot of my data on the cloud. And so, okay, in case this PC goes crap, I'll still have most of my stuff on the cloud drive.
You feel
But
safe
some,
on the cloud?
yeah. What about you? How do you feel about storing your data on the cloud?
I dislike it. For personal reasons, and we can discuss that maybe on a conspiracy one type of thing. But I don't like myself being on cloud. I appreciate like my pictures being there, but like a lot of my personal information, because I understand that it's accessible from the back end. So like when I have like my business proposals and I have like my documents that I'd rather people not have any type of stuff, I don't like to have it on the cloud. But I have that option to do
yeah.
it.
I mean, if you have business documents and stuff like that, you should probably invest in a paid cloud plan so that you have like a service agreement in there that will guarantee that your data is protected, right?
Well,
Set up the free one.
It's still accessible by people on the other side that know how to do more stuff than I do. But I hear what you're saying. I don't really feel like if you pay or if you don't pay, because I have Microsoft paid, so like I have the whole Microsoft Office thing. I paid for it, so I have everything that comes with it, including the cloud. So I already have the paid service. It's just the safety of it regardless. If people would like to get into your stuff, I understand you can do it with your phone as well. I still use like paper and everything and stuff because of it. But it's just a matter of people like having a really good idea, putting it on the cloud, and the next thing you know, it's someone else is gonna do it.
The next time you get hacked and your naked pictures get leaked to the world, is that right?
I don't even have to get hacked for that, but yeah. I mean,
Another thing too, I mean, when it comes to your information stuff, I still support freaking having a built server in your house. You know what I mean? And like they've got the internet options where you can have the server on the internet, but having one that's real and sitting in your house by your computer is probably the best way to go, because like you got
and then it's right there, yeah. That's
I used to run a server in my basement, but it's fun for a while, but then it becomes too much to have to maintain it, right? Like you're basically doing the system administration yourself.
You can set yourself up with a VPN and go into the internet and get an internet server to connect with the one that you have in home, and they'll maintain it all for you.
Well, that's a good point. That's you're talking about cloud-based backup services, right?
Right.
It's
But
still
all
someone
the-
else having more control.
All the information is encrypted on your freaking server.
Cool. That's another option. Because and those cloud backup services give you the option to encrypt the data with your own password, so they don't know, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And
I'm sorry. I used to at my previous place. I used to do my own web service and host them from the place. So I had my own servers set up in that building. But since then, I've moved over to virtual private servers, i.e., some company with a data farm will host a virtual machine for me, and then with my contract, I manage it completely myself. They only bill me for, or the only contact that I have with them is if there is a problem with the actual virtual or the infrastructure itself, which there was at the start of this year with a fire in relation. There was a fire in one of the power rooms.
So then what happens with your information in that regard? Are they able to salvage it, or how does that work?
No, my contract states that they cannot access my any of my information, or they can't access my server without a warrant, or B, with my permission.
Okay. Some I think some service providers even give you the option of doing like private key encryption, where all your data are encrypted and only you know the key to unlock them, right?
Thing is that in fact what they give me is a empty machine. It's a virtual machine rather than a physical machine, but an empty machine, and then I can install whatever I want on it, then configure it to what I want.
Okay, but you're not extra cautious in the data that you store and that you encrypt everything, do you?
I do have some security things, but the data that I store on there is not overly sensitive. Most of the sensitive data I've got is actually stored within this building.
What is the most secure web browsing service would you guys recommend in regards to safety and protection of your information and not having the alerts of the CDC or whoever those people are that stalk you or too far up here?
Secure services. I can't say about most secure services because, as far as I'm concerned, there's different levels of security, and depending on what you're doing with the servers, they're all different.
No, not server. Internet, like browser. I meant to say, web browser, like internet service.
Web browser.
Web browser.
Would you guys go with VPNs?
In certain circumstances, I was for the last 3-4 years using a VPN constantly, but this year I let my contract lapse, and I can't really see the justification at least for my usage, for a VPN.
Yeah, because I heard that they'll take your information from here to a terminal area, and they'll freaking open up the information before they send it on to the final destination. So you have
again, that depends on individual companies and individual contracts.
Yeah, I was hearing about that. They were talking about it with actually it was with Jitsi, and they were comparing Jitsi to oh god, what's that other one that's on the internet now that's supposed to be
you
mean the most popular one right now? Zoom, right?
Zoom, yeah.
They just sent me money because
Zoom's
they got
notorious
sued.
for that though. Like Zoom says that all your information's private and everything, but they don't bother to tell you that it goes to a middleman and then it's transferred to the final destination. So that information is out there for a second and then it's transferred.
The court Zoom is being used in a lot of court sessions. At least in Canada right now, they've started since COVID. They've started using it in Ontario, having Zoom sessions to do the hearings with the judge and on both sides. So I guess
they just had
it must mean their session is secured enough.
But they just had a security breach because, like I said, I got a settlement check from them because of the security breach, and then like they let me know like, hey, yeah, your data was compromised, and so here's some money type of thing. And yeah, I don't know. I always felt weird about Zoom, but that's just weird.
It's good. That's a good thing. You pointed it out. When was the security breach?
I know the check came last night. I don't really remember like when they did it. Like I paid more attention to what happened as a result. I got one letter one time, and then it came in my field box, so I never really paid much attention to the date. I just got the information, and then like I said, it was literally last night. Yeah, like 3 weeks later, 3 weeks, and yeah, they sent me. It wasn't a big check, obviously, but I mean, like they let me know like, hey, you got paid because your data was. But that's why I don't put my personal data. Like when people start getting too personal, they want your like ID, and all of a sudden they put a blood sample for you to join. And I'm like, yeah, I think I'm good.
So where do you keep your data at home and on a DVD?
Paper and pencil.
Well,
I have that as well. I mean, I use my computers right now. I've been using Notion. Notion is not quote unquote secure, but in regards to my really important stuff, yep, I have a notebook.
It's even less secure to keep your private data information on paper and pen.
Not if you don't deal with any people and no one ever comes to your house. I mean, I get what you're saying, but you guys only know because I told you. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, so yeah, but yeah.
Like if the house burns down or something like that. I know what you're saying.
A thief break into your house, and it's just like data theft, right?
You've seen those commercials where they're just rummaging through your trash,
yeah.
The bears and everything are more likely to rummage through my trash in Florida than any human is.
I kind of get a kick out of those commercials, actually. You know what I mean? Like a thief's gonna go rummaging through your freaking trash for a credit card number and shit. Like, yeah, right.
For your credit card number and your server access, like I mean, like that thief is definitely strategic.
It's usually those guys that want to have that stamp where you take and you put the stamp over your bank number and all your checks and shit.
Okay, I want to go back to Mark about the virtual private servers in terms of pros and cons. What does it cost you, and is it more beneficial than using like an iCloud storage plan?
The costs can differ depending on company and contracts. It's quite a weird landscape. You get certain companies charging a lot of money for what they're delivering, and then you can get companies that charge reasonable amounts of money for.
I think iCloud gives you 2 terabytes for like $10 a month.
Yeah, if you pay for Apple One, everything is like, I think I pay $35 a month, and I have 2 terabytes of storage.
So see, I get into the whole gaming and the streaming stuff here, and like I've got a 2 terabyte hard drive right now on my computer, and I started using this computer. It was a good year ago, and I'm just now getting to where it's getting up to the 2 terabyte limit. So, and that's with all the videos that I have backed up and everything, and other stuff on there too, like my porn and everything, you know. But
right, that's important.
Yeah.
Make your backups.
But it took a year for it to fill up, and I've got like maybe 60 gigabytes available for use.
You're running.
I have to constantly be using, I have to constantly be moving all my stuff in order for me to freaking have that space.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that would be a good offer to have, for the extra space just by itself for $10 a month, or what is it, a year?
$10 a month, I would assume.
Is it $10 a?
Yeah, it's a month. It would be a month. Yeah, because like I said,
I wouldn't pay $120 for a freaking.
For a year for 2 terabytes.
No.
Is that how much I'm paying? I pay
You're paying
$35 a month.
$120. You're paying for
Or it's
1
getting
year.
paid for.
But the downside of using iCloud stuff is that they're not protected, right? They're not secure. Stuff's not
Yeah,
encrypted.
they're not encrypted.
Yeah.
Good point.
On your computers, if you go out and get yourself a 2 terabyte hard drive, maybe 2 of them, and just have somebody install them for you, that'll take care of your storage area.
And also, too, they've implemented a new feature to where you can add encryption if you like. If I'm not mistaken, please do not quote me.
Okay.
I am not. Yeah, but
That would be
definitely-
handy. Yeah.
I'm really pretty sure it's a setting because I remember seeing it and turning it on once it got with these new updates. Because like I said, I have a Mac, I have an iPad, and I have my phones, but I'm pretty sure that I did because I did it. I don't know if I did it on the iPad or if I did it on the Mac, but they do have something that you can implement encryption.
Yeah, on that 120 year thing, though, I mean, you got to also put it in perspective. I also mentioned before, I'm paying $60 for an entire year on Lines Plus. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Me too.
And, I mean, that's reasonable for freaking, getting a server or a platform that you can go to and make money off of, I think. So if I'm turning around and I'm having to invest on storage and going and paying for that kind of money, I'm not going to pay more money for storage than what I am for something that's
Let me see. I'm comparing it against Google's Google Cloud plan. You see here.
I know they're pretty high too.
They're higher. So two terabytes for Google is $140 a year. Wait a minute.
I'll tell you what.
That's in Canadian, man.
Go on your search engine and see how much the price of a freaking hard drive is.
Yeah, but a hard drive can fail, so you need redundancy. What happens if your hard drive fails? All your 2 terabytes of data is gone.
I mean, I'm not paying freaking $120 for the storage though. That's the whole point. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if your data is important to you, right?
Well, it is important.
It might be worth the investment.
I just checked my paperwork, and granted, I've got a virtual private server, which is quite a different beast from just storage, but I'm paying for one host $42 roughly per quarter
year?
Per quarter.
Per quarter. For 3 months.
For 150 gigabytes of this space.
50 gigabytes?
150. That's not much.
Yeah, but again, it's mainly for web servers and email purposes.
But yeah, because you're like, if you had something like that and you set up a server, an in-house server, you could just run the freaking program that monitors it and everything from that. So
Yeah.
You can, Roger, but then you have to do your own backup, and you're paying for the electricity that keeps that server on 24/7.
When you build a server, you're supposed to have, say, 3 or 4 hard drives that store everything, and then there's supposed to be like a 5th one that is all its job is to manage all that for you that you're talking about. It's a program.
Again, depends on your use case. You may have a different use case. Not necessarily storing files using as a sort of file server, but you could be using as a, I don't know, database server or an email server or something. So you may not need that extra storage.
It'll it'll also put out a link to where you can take it to all your computers, and you can hook up every computer into your house onto that server, and the internet will run through that server.
Of domain name services and gateways.
You know, and whenever something is lost on the internet and you have a server in place, all you have to do is go back and freaking to a day before, and everything that was on there will be restored.
Oh, you mean there's like caching servers like Squid? Yeah, Squid. It's a Linux based caching, proxy caching mechanism where it will think of it as you've got a lot of users accessing the internet via this caching server, and rather than keep on downloading, I don't know, images that, let's say, every time somebody goes to the Google search engine, you get the Google logo in the corner. So rather than downloading that image every time you access Google, you can actually get it to be stored on the caching server, and therefore freeing up bandwidth. That makes sense.
It's a pretty interesting concept, I know that much, because like say you have somebody whose computer just crashed and they had to freaking and they lost everything on their computer system.
Okay.
See, they can go back into the server, pull up the information that computer had the day before concerning that client, and it can be restored back onto their computer with no problem, because it's all being stored within the server.
And see, I've never had an effective backup. Every time that I've attempted to back up data, despite backing up on a consistent basis, I have not been able to obtain all of my data. Like, this just happened in May, because my phone, I went swimming and it's supposed to be weatherproof. I had a weatherproof bag and it was not weatherproof. And then my phone got a whole bunch of glitter in it. And at first it worked, but then I put it on a charger and it did some weird funky like shock thing, and then it was done. And I attempted to back up, which it should have backed up from that exact day, but it would not let me back up from like 2 months before. Like my iCloud, my pictures did, but like all my data, my information, that was the only thing. Like I didn't have anything. I had a book that I was writing. Like a lot of stuff got lost, which is one of the main reasons I'm skeptical about. Yeah.
Don't you back up? So you mean when you say back up, you back it up to your MacBook
Cloud.
or your iMac? Oh, to the cloud. Oh, I
Wow.
see.
Yeah.
To iCloud. Okay, so you
Yeah,
do use
supposedly.
iCloud.
Now,
Yeah,
just,
I mean,
just
to
to
the
be clear,
extent.
too, I don't know for sure if a server could back up everything to 2 months back either. That's one area.
Oh, that's what it is.
I mean, I'm not quite sure about that. It could, but it couldn't. I mean, so just
What you? So
But it
you were
should have at least
saying
did it for the day before.
yeah, from the day before. Yeah, I mean,
you hooked up your computer to some service that backs it up for you?
you
No.
literally build the server and you put it in your house, and that server sitting in your house next to your computer will back everything up if you use the right program
You back
Okay,
up to
so
where?
it's
Back up to where?
to the server.
server.
But you put 4 freaking hard drives in there with 2 terabytes, say, you know, even
So
bigger.
it backs up one drive onto another?
It backs up all of the information into the say you've got 5 of them, 4 of them are used to freaking store the information, and the 5th one is what regulates and it monitors the system so that if anything messes up, it can take care of it.
What kind of
It's
program?
the brain.
Spill the beans, man. What kind of programs are you using?
Oh, right now I'm not doing it. I have it set, or I can pull it up if I can find it.
That's a kind of thing. That's the
Yeah.
same kind of thing that's in a RAID.
Yeah, okay.
right.
That's
Yeah,
exactly
right.
what it is.
You were talking about RAID? Oh, it's
RAID.
just RAID is
Right.
just a drive with like
No,
5.
you can set it up as a server. You can literally set it up as a server.
Okay, I can see what you're doing there. You've got a machine set up for remote access, localized remote access, but that's storing all of your data, and then something like RAID 1, maybe 1. Yeah, 1. It's just mirroring that drive.
Yeah.
It's a RAID configuration.
RAID 1 is just like 2 disks, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
Two, one level of backup.
Well, I mean, you can do as many as you want. You don't have. You can. I mean, that you can do. I've seen on the internet where guys have used freaking 3 or 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it
Yeah,
works.
Yeah.
So I mean, just because it says just one, or you don't have to have just one.
It's not necessarily RAID. You could do a simple copying method from one drive to another drive.
RAID, yeah.
With a day or something.
With RAID, we're talking about our hardware technology in the disk itself, where it has five. If you have a RAID 5, it has 5 disks inside there that keeps it redundant. If one disk failed, then
If you want RAID 1 plus 0, you have to have 4 disks. And its redundancy is excellent, and its performance is excellent. Now, if you do RAID 1, you only have to have 2 disks, and the performance is good, and the redundancy is excellent.
But okay. So, but you can buy a RAID disk. You can buy a RAID drive now.
It's actually the controller rather than the disk itself.
Right.
So it's the in this case SATA controller.
I want to build it. I don't want. It's just like I was telling you about. Like, I don't need a processor, but I want to build one. And not only do I want to build it, I want it to be noisy, and I want it to be so noisy that I have to put it in the backyard, and it pisses off my neighbors.
Okay.
Have you ever
Why?
Have you ever heard how loud a processor is? Like the old ones?
But why do you want it to be noisy though?
Yeah, like I was asking the same question. What is the strategy with this? You just want them to know you have it?
Just because I have a processor that's really loud. It's louder than a freaking Harley Davidson, man. I mean,
Oh my gosh.
Technically,
You're
it's
you're like the back to your Thor concept, right?
yeah.
You want it loud and
Yes, I do.
rough.
Daniel. Is that I don't know.
So,
But that's just
it's getting that time where I'm gonna have to cut this.
Yeah.
'Cause I gotta do conspiracy theories next.
Yes,
Yeah,
please
I gotta
do.
get off
So
too.
do I.
And
Do we stay here?
if you
or do
guys
I come
want to
back?
stay for it, it's your call.
No, I gotta go. I gotta get out. It was
Well,
good.
I
It was
would
good
like
chat.
to stay. Yeah, thank you for the information and the insight. It really did help a lot. Now,
I'll
are
tell
you
what,
going to start the show over?
You guys did an excellent job on the first episode of Tech Talk. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Pecos Dave
Yeah.
would be jealous.
Yeah.
He is gonna be jealous when he sees this because he's gonna be like, "Oh hell no!"
Yeah, that's right. I want to
He'll
talk
come
about
next
RAID.
You guys did good.
We'll catch him next time.
And
Mark's got a
thank-
good story.
Thank
All right.
you for being here, Mark and Dan and Karma.
And
Thanks.
Phoebe, thank you for
And
coming and
Phoebe,
tuning in.
glad you're here.
Yeah.
What? Phoebe's here? Oh, hey.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
just
I met
joined.
her. She came.
No, she's been here for a while.
She's been here for a
Oh,
while.
what? Really?
Yeah, I tagged her. and she
Sorry
came, so
about that. I
made me feel
didn't
all
introduce
special.
her
Hi,
on the call. I didn't even
Mhm.
notice.
Well, she's been on the chats and everything, so
Oh, cow.
Yeah, I remember you
Hi,
invited
Phoebe.
her. So I
Sorry
just
about that.
reminded her because
So we got also. I'm gonna introduce Phoebe now before we leave. We have Phoebe the android on the Tech Talk
the
podcast.
Android.
Cool.
glad you're here, Phoebe.
How come?
That's funny.
How come
Thank you
Phoebe
guys.
can't talk?
Thank you guys for all showing
Maybe
up.
she's busy.
Okay. Okay.
I'm going to rejoin in a second whenever we're ready,
Phoebe said
okay?
thank you and hello.
Okay.
We starting, or are we starting immediately? Are we
Okay.
starting
I'm gonna-
conspiracy?
All
I'm gonna
right.
stop.
Bye, everyone. I'm gonna get out.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to go as well.
See you guys later. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you very much. All right. So yeah, if you want to, just go ahead and stay on, and I'll stop the recording and then go back to streaming here in a minute. I'm gonna take about a 5-minute break and get going. Okay.
Okay, well, so look, I'm gonna hang up and then come back. No, I'm just gonna mute and then wait for you so I can hear you. That's better for me. Okie dokie.
Okay.